Today is May 11th, 2023. Happy birthday to me. Beautiful day out here. We're in Strasburg, Pennsylvania. This is Strasburg Railroad's 260, number 89. Getting ready to leave on the 11 o'clock trip. Gonna rail fan around the Amish country a little bit and closer towards Philadelphia, the outer suburbs. And we're gonna catch a couple of the Strasburg trains first. Then some Amtrak Keystone Corridor action and some Septa mixed in later on.
Wow.
1,200 horsepower, it says.
We're going to pee. We better go pee quick. Got time to pee, I hope? Yep, we got 15 minutes. Okay.
How are you, sir?
Good, how are you?
All right. Can you tell me what kind of whistle is on this engine?
It's a Pennsylvania Railroad 3-chime. It's actually my own whistle is on it.
Is that a Long Island Railroad whistle?
Somewhere off of the Pennsylvania Railroad system. It was found in Cleveland, Ohio. I don't know exactly what it came from or where.
Yeah, it might be the G5 whistle, possibly. So, I grew up with those whistles.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, they got rid of steam on Long Island when I was 1. I'm 69 years old today, so.
Oh, happy birthday.
Thanks. Put on a good show.
Thank you, we'll try.
Have a wonderful day.
Thank you, you too.
Thank you. Well, as you heard from the fireman, the whistle that's on this engine is his own whistle. It's a 3-chimer. So it's probably not the Long Island whistle, but Long Island whistles and Pennsy whistles sounded pretty much alike. After all, the Long Island Railroad was owned by the Pennsylvania Railroad at one time. But this engine is a former Canadian National 260. Strasburg has a fleet of other engines like XN&W 480-475 and my favorite, Great Western of Colorado, a sugar beet hauling railroad, Great Western Decapod 210 number 90. Got a beautiful 5-chime, actually maybe a 5 or 6-chime X-Reading whistle. Before we move further east to the Espenshades crossing, we're going to catch the 11 o'clock departure of the Strasburg special with the number 89. Get to listen to that Pennsylvania Railroad whistle. Pennsylvania Railroad love 3-chime whistles. They're not quite as pretty as New York Central whistles, but since I grew up with the Long Island Railroad, I know my father heard tons of these Pennsylvania Railroad style whistles. So this is for you, Dad. Gorgeous day out here in the Amish country. It's about 70 degrees right now. Should be in the upper 70s today. You can hear that whistle as the train approaches. Definitely a Pennsylvania Railroad style whistle. The G5 whistle on the Long Island Railroad that I was referring to sounds very much like that. Over there is the Espenshades Turkey Farm. Strasburg Railroad is the oldest railroad under its original name in the United States. Created in 1832. Good. We'll stick around here for his return trip as he fights the grade here going back to Strasburg. Hear him barking up the grade here. And we move further east to Black Horse Road crossing. We're just east of Graf Siding, and this is a great spot to get the Paradise-bound Strasburg train as he stops just west of the crossing and blows the ghost whistle. This location is otherwise known as Carpenter's Crossing. When I speak about the ghost whistle, the Strasburg trains stop here and they sound their whistle before proceeding east over this crossing. And the announcer on the train says, "Can you hear the Lancaster, Oxford, and Southern Narrow Gauge Railroad in the distance answering us?" That railroad ran from 1912 to 1918. But of course, it's just a beautiful echo from the Strasburg's whistle. Well, here it is, the Carpenter's Graveyard, just up the hill from the railroad track. Very old cemetery. First person was buried here in 1716, Madame Ferry. Well, here comes the 12 o'clock train. You can hear that Pennsy whistle. Listening to that whistle reminds me of when I was a kid. Our town had a button factory. And every weekday at 8 a.m., noon, 1 p.m., and 5 p.m., that whistle would sound. That was the whistle that the workers responded to. Starting time, lunchtime, beginning and end, and quitting time. And it sounded just like a Pennsylvania Railroad whistle. Okay, here he comes. He's going to stop just shy of the crossing and blow his whistle. The ghost whistle, they call it. You'll be able to hear the echo. Back west, we're just west of Graf Siding at the station of Cherry Hill. Population 17 more or less. Not too many people here now, but there's a tourist attraction here. The courtyard, that'll be loaded with people once the summer comes. There are farm tours, wagon rides. There used to be a corn maze here that was on the hillside in the background where it's beige. But it doesn't look like there's going to be any corn maze there this summer. And you're looking at the west end of Graf Siding. During the summer when they run a pair of trains, they have meets here. Graf's is also the site of a picnic area where the trains stop at on the way back to Strasburg. Picnickers can use a picnic area that's located in the shade. Graf is a very common name out in this part of the state. In fact, I knew a gal that I worked with that last name, and she was from Lebanon, Pennsylvania. If you love stack torque, this crossing is the best place to be. And that whistle sounds just wonderful. Well, where can you go to rail fan the Strasburg Railroad and Amtrak's Keystone Corridor? This place, Paradise on the Strasburg, Lehman Place on Amtrak. We're looking east. Well, approaching fast eastbound at 12:58 is train 650, en route from Harrisburg to New York. Well, arriving Paradise at 1:18 is the 1 o'clock Strasburg Railroad train. Here he will run around the train and go back. The engine already cut off. It's very hard to get up to the engine here, but I hear somebody else is having a happy birthday on board the train. A lot of May birthdays. My mother's is on the 15th, my sister's on the 16th, and my grandmother was on the 10th. There's one of the train crew waiting for his engine to back up. So how long you been with the Strasburg?
A little over a year and a half.
Oh, how do you like it?
Love it. Absolutely love it.
You live nearby?
I do now, yes.
Oh.
Moved here from Boston.
Oh, good old Boston.
I guess. I grew up in North Jersey, though.
Oh. Well, I'm Irish, so I got reason to love Boston.
Oh, for sure.
Every T operator up there is named O'Reilly, pretty much. Here he comes.
Forward. Lock it up. Clear. Reset. Okay, about 3 feet.
job. Take care, buddy. Here comes 42. Pittsburgh to New York at 2:03. Is about 13 minutes late. Unfortunately, I can't say the same for his counterpart, 43, New York-Pittsburgh. He's over an hour late due to signal problems at the Portal Drawbridge in New Jersey. That bridge is worse than the devil himself. All right, we've moved further east along the Amtrak Keystone Corridor in the pleasant little town of Christiana, Pennsylvania. And here's an old Pennsylvania Railroad station that was built in 1900. Great spots to watch trains. Across the tracks, that's the old freight station, which is now the headquarters of the Lancaster chapter of the NRHS. And here's the pride and joy of Christiana, this resplendent Conrail blue caboose. It's a former Erie Lackawanna caboose. The Flying Yankee would be doubly foamed out knowing this. Christiana is located around milepost 48.4. east of Gap and west of Parkersburg. Here comes 43, the Pennsylvania, New York-Pittsburgh. In about a mile or so, he'll be slowing down to negotiate the sharp curves around Gap. And we're meandering further east towards the western suburbs of Philly. This is the 1905 built station at Parkersburg. Amtrak stop only, although between 1990 and 1996, Septa trains terminated here. But they had to go all the way to Lancaster on a deadhead move to turn around, so they cut it back. Now it terminates further east at Thorndale, the Septa trains do. The Parkersburg station is famous in movie annals. In 1984, the film Witness, a scene was filmed here. The movie with Harrison Ford, excellent movie. Yeah, today the station only sees Amtrak action and occasional local freight, I think. But years ago, considerable freight traffic used to go through here. See those two tracks in the middle? Rather rusty. That's what's left of the old Pennsylvania Railroad Atklin and Susquehanna branch, otherwise known as the Enola branch. Freight trains to Enola used to take this route. They would join up with this line east of Downingtown, coming off the Trenton Cutoff and P&T branch. Looking to the east on the left-hand side of the right-of-way, you see what looks like a train depot. That's actually once was Park Tower. Looks more like a train depot than an interlocking tower, but it's no longer an active interlock. All right, we moved east to Thorndale. This is the west end of Septa territory on the Harrisburg line. I missed train 645 at Parkersburg, and I missed 609 getting past up coming to here. But here's train 5438 with some beautiful Silverliner 5s getting ready to depart for Philadelphia and Glenside. He's got a clear at Thorn Interlocking, heading east to Philadelphia. Thorndale is a fragment of what it once was as a railroad town. You'll notice the westbound Septa platform over there, which is a low platform as opposed to this high platform. It seems like this is used more often than not. Those tracks in the middle was part of the old freight main. Lots of freight trains and passenger limiteds used to pass through here on the Pennsy. Now it's just Amtrak and the Septa trains that terminate here. Now, on this video, folks, I've been criticized for being slightly critical of the Silverliner 4 cars. I've made some kind of innuendos of maybe a slight dislike towards them. Well, I'm going to be big. I'm going to be noble. I'm going to be gallant and poised and classy. Show some integrity. On this video, I am not going to say one single bad word about the Silverliner 4s. Not one single solitary bad word will be spoken about those cars. What do you think about that? The area to the west used to be a very important freight yard for Pennsylvania Railroad, Penn Central, and Conrail. But then when traffic was rerouted off of this route onto the parallel Reading routes to the north, the yard was shrunken considerably. But the only thing that uses it now are maintenance away trains. To the east is Thorn Tower, which is no longer an active interlocking. I can hear a distant horn and I can see the approaching Amtrak train 652 en route from Harrisburg to New York. He'll be flying through here. Here he comes. He'll be slowing down to stop at Downingtown in just a minute or two. Okay, 427, here comes Amtrak 647, New York, Harrisburg. Well, we're now well further east at the Malvern station. We're about 1.5 miles west of Paoli. This station was built in 1900. Malvern for many years saw only limited train service, mainly Harrisburg-bound trains. But then Septa joined up here and trains were running out to Parkersburg and eventually to Thorndale. Now Malvern sees much more service. In fact, it's a terminating point for many trains. From here, the trains deadhead to the nearby Fraser storage facility and shop. Well, that beautiful equipment caught me by surprise. Heading east at 5:09. And approaching Malvern westbound at 5:13 is train 649. En route from New York to Harrisburg. He just pulled out of Paoli Station, a mile and a half to the east. Well, coming into Malvern at 5:19 is train 9591 on Septa. Philadelphia to Thorndale, push-pull equipment, led by an ACS 64. They have a really sharp paint scheme on these engines. He'll be stopping here. There'll be another push-pull in about 20 minutes, 9593. Lighting is much better on the westbound platform. You'll notice the spacing in between the rails with the fence. This was once a 4-track main. Here comes 5344 from Thorndale to West Trenton. Should have some stunning equipment on them. Leader is car 712. That has a cab on both ends. It's not a married pair car. The married pairs are numbered in the 800s. Next stop, Paoli. Well, here comes train 5744 from Philadelphia. He terminates here. He'll deadhead to Fraser, not too far to the west. Brace of Silverliner 4s. Ugh. Oh, my allergies. They haven't been bothering me all spring. What am I allergic to? was Amtrak 654 en route from Harrisburg to New York. By at 5:46. All right, approaching Malvern westbound at 5:49 is train 9593, Philadelphia to Thorndale. Another push-pull, aka bomber train. They call them bomber trains because of the Bombardier equipment. Beautiful engines. There's talk maybe MBTA might get some or borrow some from Amtrak. Wouldn't mind seeing them in purple and gray. That's the last of the bomber trains we'll see tonight. They run 2 a day each way during the week on this section of track. Okay, westbound equipment it looks like at 5:54. I think he's heading over to Fraser. He might have dumped his last passenger at Bryn Mawr. Silver Line of 4s. All right, approaching westbound at 6:03 is train 651 en route from New York to Harrisburg. Just pulled out of Paoli. Great action here at Malvern, lots of variety. Whoa, I just got to Paoli in time to see this equipment train, obviously, with 2 ACS 64s. Dig that. Well, the Paoli depot still stands. It was built back in 1953, rather unassuming structure. But many other things here have changed. This is about the only constant. As you can see, the station is definitely different. This was built within the last decade with a high platform. Replaced 2 low-level side platforms with a 4-track main going through it, but that's been rationalized too. Now it's gone with the high-level platform. This was the top of a grade, and trains used to get pushers here on the Pennsylvania Railroad. Like I said, a lot of things have changed. This used to be the destination for the famous Paoli local, serving the upper crust towns of the main line. But now there's no more Paoli local, there's no more Paoli yard, there's no more Paoli MU shop, there's no more duck under from the shop and the yard to track 1, and the tower is no longer manned. Trains now go to Malvern and the facility is located in Fraser. I should point out Paoli has had a reputation for having bad eateries. Many years ago there was a restaurant just west of here on the south side called the Paoli Local. That was the name of the restaurant. I heard it wasn't very good. And about 10 or 12 years ago, I ate in the Paoli Diner on Route 30 to the east. That food wasn't too good. But I do recommend TJ's. That's a little ways west of here on the south side, and I plan on going there later. We got a clear signal for 9553 bound from Malvern. And here he comes at 628. Some good stuff. For a change, I don't feel like I'm gonna sneeze. Well, this is a restricting signal. Red over a left-handed diagonal. I got 5344 from Malvern to West Trenton coming in. Well, 634, 3541, bound from Malvern, Silver Line of 4s. Hello, is this Dr. Phillips' office? Do you have any availability tomorrow? I think I need some kind of an allergy shot. I don't know what's wrong. I can't figure it. Well, 654 approaching is Amtrak 656 from Harrisburg to New York. I often ride this train out of Philadelphia to New York, and he's double-ended today. I think I'll call it a day. It's been a most memorable birthday, rail fanning the Keystone Corridor.